right, this is a subject that would be of great concern to you. I have been telling this gentleman that landlords hatuwapendangi sana, but really that is not the case because we all look forward to be there. And therefore, at this time when you're a tenant and, you really need to understand how well you can relate to your landlord so that, it's a peaceful coexistence. Also, as you transit to that level of being a landlord, you also need to understand the nitty-gritty details on how you handle your tenants so that, again, is a peaceful coexistence. But there are a lot of discrepancies and things that are not so clear as to what is in line to our rights as landlords or to our rights as tenants. So we want to have that very important conversation alongside the gentlemen that are from the Landlord and Tenants Association of Kenya. It's a pleasure to have them as we get into this very, very important conversation with me, Joachim Omboi, the chairman of LATAC. Thank you so much for creating time, as well as Hon Pete Njau, the country coordinator, LATAC. Thank you so much as well, sir, for joining us for this very important conversation. Perhaps to kick-start this, a body that most of the Kenyans are not aware is in existence, the Landlord and Tenants Association of Kenya. Just what about it?
It's known. Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya was registered in 2013. Its main objective was to harmonize the platform for landlords and tenants, agents, auctioneers, and any other stakeholders to come on board and bring solutions to conflicts arising. That's why it was registered under CAP 108.
Why I'm saying not known, perhaps that was just a by the way of kickstarting the conversation, is because even with the knowledge that there's an existence of this body, that it helps to oversee some of these issues that are, pertain to what you have mentioned. Reality is that we still have lots of cases that arise in relation to that, and sometimes people tend to give up somewhere along the way because they feel like, well, there's not a single law that protects us. Is it ignorance? Is it, the fact that we know, but then again, there's not much that, this body is doing to lining this activity, or what exactly? Okay,
number one, Kenyans are ignorant. They don't want to know more about law. In the sector of landlords and tenants, we have two CAPs. That is CAP 301, that governs business premises, and the CAP 296, that governs residential premises. We have two tribunal courts in collaboration with the Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya. That's where we sit. What makes maybe Kenyans not to understand their rights, procedures, and how at least they can coexist is because of lack of awareness, but we are trying to do that one. We represent our members in court and outside court in terms of ADR, that is Alternative Dispute Resolution. It is there, it's all over Kenya. I wanted to start from maybe the physical address. Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya has been there. Right now we have another office which is very accessible to all Kenyans, but we are based in Nairobi. If you walk to our office, that's Mang Building, Haile Selassie Avenue, junction of Rescos, first floor, wing A. You will get Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya, and you will be helped in terms of deposit refund, in terms of rent increment, in terms of disconnection of water, electricity, and some other conflicts, even locking of houses. And also, between the two, landlords and tenants have their own rights. A landlord has to provide habitable environment for tenants to live. And a tenant is his or her obligations and rights, duties to make sure rent is paid. So they coexist. So once you walk to our offices, you will get all those services, and we usually coordinate and work with the administration. All the OCSs, police stations in the whole country, we go there, ask which body is supposed to assist you when there is a case or an issue. You will be guided and given. Our contacts.
Before we get to that, we're going to give the contacts towards the last minute of the program. Allow us to loop in Peter. Peter, the existence of this body, very, very important. And I'll ask some of the basic questions, just like, when I put up the poster and people were asking. So which is this one that is at the Vision Towers? And which is this one that is somewhere around Jivanji? There's a building somewhere around Jivanji that as well deals with the question of, tenants and landlords.
Let me tell you one thing. If you see me, I am a politician. I was aspiring member of parliament in Kasarani, and I'm now the national coordinator of Landlord and Tenants Association of Kenya. That building, I'm not aware of that, Chairman, about the people who are dealing with Landlord, because I know
it's a fully fledged office. It's Vision Towers.
Let me add that.
Yes, Vision Towers, and there's one that is at Jivanji. And I'm saying this because I've been to these two offices, unless there are adjustments that have been made.
In Kenya, we have two tribunal courts. One is at the Crescent House, that's just adjacent to Jivanji. And the other one is not Vision, it is View Park Towers.
View Park Towers, sorry.
View Park Towers,
yes.
That is under Cap 301. Yes. It governs business premises. That is hotel, residential, offices, or hotel, businesses, and other whatever. Then we have this Jivanji, Crescent House. Yeah. That is Rent Restriction Tribunal Court. It handles issues of residential buildings, where we live, where we bring up our families. We have two bodies. Now, on our side, this is an non-governmental organization that has been so much begged to collaborate with the two tribunal courts. To bring it to your attention, in the structure that is given under the Tribunal, Landlords and Tenants Act, we are identified as to be the Court Users Committee. This is where we sit, Police Service Commission sits, Kituo cha Haki sits, Tribunal Court Residential sits, Business Premises Court sits. So we are there at least to discuss in terms of policies, how we can at least adjust policies and implement that governs tenancy in Kenya. My understanding is that you might have done, your office must have done research and proper understanding of these offices that are in existence. Yes, yes. Do you understand the difficulties that sit therein for people who are always presenting their cases? And even the paperwork is quite hectic. Sometimes you're sent to a cyber so that they can work for you. That is money. And the confusion that sits there to a point where you're thinking, I am chasing a refund, or I'm chasing, a refund that is on the deposit. Yes, yes. That is about 20,000. But the process is taking me more than that 20,000. What is the essence of this? In your research, really have valid grounds for Kenyans to say that, they have bodies that, Let me start from talking about the population that we have. In any developing country, we measure population and economics. In Kenya, we have two, and they are under circuit. So we are in deficiency. The problem that Kenyans face every day is because the government has not stipulated these two tribunal courts to be decentralized to county levels. So they are on circuit move. Sometimes they are in Mombasa, sometimes they are in Nairobi, sometimes Nakuru. So the magnitude of our people with the cases, they suffer a lot. That's why Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya is there. In terms of logistics, issues of maybe litigation processes in our tribunal court, they cannot be able to carry or deliver. It is very, very hectic. And per day, they can even only solve about 50, 20 to 30 cases per day. And remember, in Kenya, we have 18 million tenants and 5 million landlords. So issue of deposit refund, it becomes the issue. Verification of court orders from the police station, going to the premises, doing all those stuff is becoming issue. That's why even we are suggesting our police officers in all OCSs where they sit, police stations all over Kenya, when issue of tenancy comes to their desk, maybe verification of court order, implementing and making sure court orders are being followed, they need to verify at that position immediately, not going back to the court. So we are having communications, how at least they can have that efficient action to make sure tenants who are just found in issues can be sorted out and get the right services. Yeah.
Right.
So there is a problem, and we did a petition in court last year through Sakaja. Sakaja was the governor, was the senator at that time. We did a petition on Landlords and Tenants Act 2021 to review the entire act so that it can suit the population, the needs of the people, all the changes needed, so that at least our people can get the services needed. So we are pushing that, but the government is somehow slow because that act is just put.
So how different then is LATAC coming in to offer a solution, at least, or a remedy, until then the government aligns itself to what are the needs of the people down on ground? What confidence do you give to the people at this very point that, well, you can trust LATAC to address some of these problems? It doesn't matter how long it takes, but eventually then justice is found.
I can add on that.
Then Peter will be left out of this conversation.
No, you will talk. There's a place to talk.
All right.
Chairman.
Okay.
Service delivery to our people is very important. If you go to court, you will never get a lawyer. But if you come to our office, you have to get a lawyer who is ready to do the application and a certificate of urgency going to
who
in our office.
Who is supposed to then take care of the lawyer?
It's us. It's us.
Okay.
It's affordable. Our fees are very affordable. Sometimes we give free services. If you come to our office, legal department works on that. Understands your issue. Maybe the house is locked, maybe rent increment, maybe there's a notice to move out. We are supposed to listen and get instructions from you as a client. We do that one immediately. Maybe if it's house is closed, we go under certificate of urgency. We do the process of litigation, the hauling brief. We have lawyers who are so competent. So in that line, we give very efficient services to our members instantly, than maybe going to court, and maybe sometimes in Nairobi, where we have many cases, you saw houses collapsing, so people are being evicted. You know, sometimes our courts, they usually go around the country. Something has happened in Nairobi. The court is in Mombasa. Who is going to sort out this issue? That's why we are there. So we give very quick services to our members. I'm appealing to all members in the country, landlords, whether tenants, wherever. When you have an issue, don't hesitate.
So when you say our members, what exactly do you mean?
Anybody is a member by default.
Okay.
When you become a victim, maybe your house is locked, there's a delay in terms of maybe services delivery, or maybe the deposit refund, there's an issue. You become a member by default. So anybody in the bracket of 18 million tenants and 5 million landlords, just come to the office, all services are there.
Honorable, before it gets to the moment of an altercation, what then does this body do? Generally, what are some of the things that are available, or some of the policies, or some of the rules of the game, that is, in terms of understanding, that are there as to the question of tenant-landlord rights? And do you suppose this is given to the people who are renting houses on the onset for them to understand the rules of the game before they get themselves into this, such that even when an altercation arises, then it becomes easy to handle it?
You know, number one, I don't know, we are combining landlord and tenant. Number one, people are asking, how can you handle a landlord and at the same time you are handling the tenant?
That also is a very good question. Yes.
So sometimes landlord are not you following the law. Tenant, people, they don't know about the law. So when we are handling landlord and tenant together, number one, we don't have another association in this country, Association of Kenya, called landlord and tenant combination.
That is okay. Yeah. So what are you doing as an entity to make sure that the rules of the game are well understood to the landlords and to the tenants, so that, you know, it makes your work even easy? In the event that, you know, cases arises, it becomes easy. The first question would be then, did you get the policies of this building, or did you get the policies from your tenant, from your landlord? Are you in agreement to the policies? At what point have these policies been infringed upon?
You know, we have the data, number one, the whole country. about the landlord, about the tenant.
And this data keeps adjusting by the
Exactly.
day. You have to agree with me.
So what we are doing, number one, let me go outside there.
Yes.
What we are doing is to combine the landlord and tenant. Landlord, you have to, according to the constitution, we don't have deposit. I mean, goodwill. We don't have something like goodwill according to the constitution of Kenya. So people are crying, tenants are crying, are fighting. People are fighting, landlord and tenant are fighting. So they don't know the rule. Tenant, they don't know the rule. Landlord, they don't know the rule. That's why they were switching the electricity, water, everything. And right now we are opening a lot of houses even in Madeira, wherever in country. Even if you are saying we don't know a lot.
No, I didn't say that. That was based on the troubles that we witnessed on ground. Yeah. That is to say, it's either you're not known or you're known, but people are ignorant to the existence, or you're known, but people come there and maybe they do not get assistance and therefore they do not see the essence of this.
But
I can inject that.
You will leave Peter out of this conversation. I think it's only fair.
But he knows a lot.
He knows better than that. All right, okay. So then I will ask that question again. What are you doing as an entity to make sure that the policies on ground are good enough, that the rules of the game are well understood across, so that even at a point of altercation, which we do not hope it gets to that level, if the policies are well understood and are being followed as expected, then in the event that this arises, then the guidelines would be on what the policies dictate.
All right. In our concept, Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya, we have items that we usually put across the country to make sure people understand laws and policies. We do awareness. Awareness, number one, we have what we call tenancy fraud awareness. Tenancy fraud awareness is to make sure our landlords knows their rights, duties, and obligations. Also vice versa to tenants. I'm just talking to the rights of landlords right now. A landlord has to know rights from the word go. We have 3 principles under the landlord. Number 1 principle is entry principle. Entry principle, this is where a landlord has to give the right information to the tenant. Number 1, the landlord must have all documents that certifies the house constructed is habitable from all relevant bodies, NEMA, National Construction Authority. To have those certificates of occupancy must be on entry point. When a tenant comes on board, has to be taken through the document so that in making decision, this tenant is going to make a decision of taking that house in terms of maybe going through the document. Number 2, we have stay, entry and then stay. Under stay, the landlord's rights has the obligation to give out the information to the tenant in terms of the history of the house, pictorials, everything. During that stay, then now the tenant has to be certified that this house, in terms of maybe the size, the designs and everything, is certified. Then we come exit. Exit, the landlord has to have some sort of document that shows how to give notices, when to give notices, how to increase rent, how much is the percentage. All these things is supposed to be on the fingertips. Then when now coming to the tenant, the rights of a tenant to accept that this house is good, the tenant has to go through the lease. Most of our law firms around, or sometimes they mislead landlords during the period of constructing or writing the contract and the leases. I've never seen in the confines of 296, Cap 296 or 301, where there's an article that it talks about penalties, goodwill, and maybe rent increment in terms of 20-30%. That thing is not there. But you find in most of the leases, these articles are stipulated, which is not in the confines of law. So we come out clearly and tell our people out there, tenants, landlords, when you are doing these things, do things in the confines of Cap 296 and 301, so that it can be a benefit to the government and the other stakeholders. So if we can follow laws, and we have told our people to come to our offices to be guided on lease agreements. Before you sign any lease, you have to go through the lease, know item by item. Then if there is a problem, as a tenant or as a landlord, you are supposed to do a request in terms of amendments. You amend. If there is a penalty clause, you have to deny that or diminish that, and then do a request that I don't want this clause. Maybe I'll be late to pay rent, but I don't want this penalty to be reflected. You have that right as a tenant. So all these issues is all about public awareness. We last month we did a case in court defending landlords. Sakaja went out and announced openly that he wants to increase rates to landlords. We said no, the case is in court, and we stopped that. And that reflection has to go to 47 counties. No any move that can be made by maybe county government to increase rates if the government has not given services. Service number one as a right from the government to landlords and tenants. You must, as to the landlord, you must provide maybe security lights, drainage systems, sewer lines, and some other essentials from the government, so that when you want to increase rates to this landlord, then this landlord can be at least okay, because the services are given, then can at least obey to pay rates.
Right.
That one is not there. So that's why we stopped in Nairobi. We stopped it. There will be no increment of rates to all landlords. The reason, there is public participation. That is missing. Any governor, even the president, is supposed to consult before making a move to increase something.
Hence my question again, what then is the push for people to understand, including the landlords, to know the extremes? And I acknowledge that you say that, you know, before one gets to that level, they should have read the caps and understood them proper. There's a lot that needs to be addressed as we speak. The dispute resolutions that we've talked about, the eviction, you know, and the notices that are supposed to be given, the secondary suits, the inspection reports, the land responsibilities, the leases, like you have mentioned, the legislation aspect. Pets, you know, also are an issue. Pets and emotional support animals. We have talked about, you know, the notices that landlords are supposed to give, the increment of, you know, rent, you know, anyhowly, the subletting aspect and the assignments, the tenant responsibilities. So just how much is being done in terms of creation of civic education, Mheshimiwa, so that at least people can understand this, because the landlord, it is in their best interest to understand this. So they'll go deep, they'll dig deep, they will pay lots of money just so they would understand the rules. But rarely will you find the tenants doing that. You know, bora umepata nyumba, umeambiwa lipa deposit, umeambiwa fanya nini, unaingia ndani. Now, it hits you that you did not take time to understand the laws when trouble arises. So what is being done to sensitize the people to this aspect of, you know, gaining knowledge?
You know, number one, we have to do a public participation for the people to understand what we are doing.
Is that being done?
Yeah. So, what we are actually in next month.
Yes, sure.
We are doing a public participation.
Right.
In Nairobi.
When? Next month exactly? Or this will be communicated?
Yeah,
yes.
It will be communicated.
Okay.
It will be communicated.
So it is a convention. It's a Landlord Summit.
Okay.
This is where we are going to discuss about policy formulation, implementation and adjustment in the entire Landlords and Tenants Act based on landlord, so that the landlord, if regulated and given the right procedures, we are not going to have a burden to tenants. Right now, if you increase, like they have done that, the Kenya Power wants to increase rates. And these rates, if they are going to be increased, the landlord is going to transfer the rates to the tenant.
Okay.
And the tenant is going to be a very big burden. We will never allow that one. I'm just sending a very strong message to Kenya Power fraternity, not to increase, because economically there's drought, there's COVID. All this has affected everybody since 2020 to date. There's nothing, there's no revival of our economy. So we are telling all parastatals, all government agencies to stop doing anything that can affect tenants in the country. So that one, Kenya Power and Lightning, they have to stop. They will not increase rates. Those tokens and whatever, they have to stop.
Right.
Land rates in Nairobi, even rent, monthly rent to landlords, they must stop. Let us now regulate, go out, try to see what is very important to our people, meanwhile waiting for the economy to do what? And we thank His Excellency the President. We have, we have a president who is very active, very good, very vibrant. So we are just sending a very humble request to consolidate all-inclusive government so that we can chip in what is affecting our people before making decisions. You saw the houses collapsing. At Sexual Association of Kenya, we don't understand what is being done. National Construction Authority, we don't understand the procedures. NEMA, you see our rivers, our environment is so dirty. If you go to Kirinyaga Road right now, you see how dirty it is. That is the responsibility of the government. So the landlord will be not feeling well okay to pay rates if services are not given. So all this one is all awareness. We are doing Landlords Convention Summit next month.
Right. We
bring all landlords together. We discuss the way forward, not only Nairobi, but maybe tentatively 10 counties, and then we spread all over Kenya. Okay. So we are appealing to all landlords to get in touch to our offices for registration, and also let them contribute some suggestions so that when we are formulating the concept, we can at least address their issues.
You can now give us the contacts.
Yes. Okay, I've said we are along Haile Selassie Avenue, junction of Rescourse, first floor Mang House, Wing A. We have numbers. If somebody wants to contact us, our office line is 075554461, 0706 0706 074 793, 0704 57 5951. I repeat, 0795 55 4461, 0706 074 793, 074 57 5951. Our website, go to www.latak. Latak means latak.or.ke. Number 2, you go and register. We have the short code. Go dial star 370 star 1 hash. Once you register, you can register 100 shillings, 1,000, 20,000, 3,000. Once you register, then you proceed with that message. Go to our short code 25061. Ikikuuliza kitu ya kuweka password, weka kitambulisho yako.
So what is this registration for?
Registration to have data.
For the data?
Data.
So that means any time that someone comes with a complaint and you have to register first.
Register first,
okay,
so that you can attend you. The minimum is 100 shillings.
Okay.
Once we capture your data, then we know your history, we will understand how to handle you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Your parting shot, or maybe take home to the people who are frustrated out there without knowledge that they can get help.
Okay, number one, thank you very much. If you are finishing,
yes,
a very short time. That's why I've given you the chairman, because he knows a lot.
Fair enough.
He's the founder, actually.
Right.
And me, I'm very grateful. I can say, let me say I'm very grateful. And I want to tell the people why we are registering the people with the 100 shillings. When you come there and you have registered with us for maybe 6 months or 3 months, no, from 6 months to 1 year, and your house is closed, we will pay for you for 3 months That's what we are doing. We'll open your house, then we'll give you a loan for 3 to 4 months. You continue paying slowly, maybe 100. So that people, they cannot ask why we are registering people. That one is non-refundable money, 100 shillings only. And we are in conjunction with bodas people. We are transforming tenant to landlord. We have that program for housing.
Okay.
We have people from even USA. Our diaspora director is in Seattle. We are building houses. That program we have. So people, they must come in our office and register.
Right.
If you register, you'll become a member.
And a beneficiary to all these programs that you have. Thank you so much, Honorable Peter Njau, Country Coordinator of LATAC, and Joachim Mbu is the Chairperson at LATAC. LATAC stands for the Landlords and Tenants Association of Kenya, for the great insights, and as well we hope that very many people can reach out for proper understanding on how best they can enjoy their rights as landlords and as well as tenants. We close this one at this very point, but not in totality. Shortly, we discuss microfinance and how much is a plus for you who would love to start, a business and perhaps are not, in line with any bank. So after the short break, we get to that conversation. Don't you go anywhere.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Looking for a college that will impact your practical skill sets? Trisent School of Medical Health and Science Technology offers market-driven programs in diploma and certificate levels in the schools of health sciences, social sciences, applied sciences, and business and informatics. Enroll for our January 2023 intake to enjoy seamless student experience. You deserve qualified faculty leadership to set a good guide for your career. Trisent School of Medical Health and Science Technology, partners in your journey to excellence.
What do you want? No woman just gives a man roses like that.
It's the month of love, so I decided to surprise.
Oh, so
Yeah.
muna behave